We're surrounded by light every single day, but have you ever really thought about what it is? We're going to dig into some of its wildest secrets, and it all starts with something you've definitely got lying around in a kitchen drawer. All right, let's jump right in. Go grab a spoon. Seriously, a regular metal spoon. Take a look at your reflection on the back of it. See? Normal, right? Now flip it over and look at the inside part, the part that holds the soup. Whoa, suddenly you're upside down. So what in the world is going on there? Why the flip? To solve this little kitchen mystery, we've got to get back to basics. We need to understand the number one rule of light. It's our very first clue. Okay, so our first section is all about light's straight and narrow path. This is the first piece of the puzzle, and trust me, it's the key to understanding everything else. All right, here it is, the big secret. Light travels in perfectly straight lines. Think of it like a laser beam. It doesn't wiggle or bend around corners by itself. It just goes straight until it smacks into something. And this little experiment here, it's the perfect illustration. Look, if you try to see a candle through a bent pipe, you see nothing. Why? Because that light from the candle is shooting straight, and it just hits the inside wall of the pipe. But with a straight pipe, bam, you can see it clear as day. So simple, but so important. All right, so we've established rule number one. Light travels in straight lines. But what happens when one of those straight lines hits something shiny, like, say, a mirror? Well, that's when things get interesting. It bounces. Pretty much any shiny surface can act like a mirror. A calm lake, a polished countertop, you name it. This whole process of light bouncing off is called reflection. It's a classic trick in old stories, right? The hero or villain gets tricked by their own reflection in the water. Now, what's really important to get is that a regular flat mirror, what scientists call a plane mirror, plays by a very specific set of rules. The image you see is always upright, it's always the same size as you, and it looks like it's the same distance behind the mirror as you are in front of it. But there's one really weird thing it does. It flips everything left to right. And this left-right flip thing, it's not just a weird quirk, we actually use it in a super clever way in the real world. Think about an ambulance. The word ambulance is painted backwards on the hood. Why? So when you look in your rearview mirror, the mirror flips it back to normal and you can read it instantly. Pretty smart, huh? Okay, so flat mirrors are easy enough to understand. They follow the rules. But things get really wild and a lot more fun when we start to curve those mirrors. And that, my friends, brings us right back to where we started, our spoon. You see, that spoon isn't just one mirror, it's two. The inside part, the scoop, is what we call a concave mirror. It caves in. The back, the part that bulges out, is a convex mirror. And these two different shapes do completely different things to the light that hits them, which is why they make such different reflections. Okay, one of the biggest differences between them is the kind of image they make. Let me explain. A virtual image is what you see in your bathroom mirror. It looks like it's behind the glass, but you can't put a piece of paper back there and see the image on it. It's an illusion. But a real image, that's different. It's like a movie projector. The light actually comes together to form an image that you can project onto a screen. And these different properties give these mirrors some pretty cool superpowers. Concave mirrors, the ones that curve inward, are amazing magnifiers. That's exactly what your dentist uses to get a super-sized view of your teeth. But convex mirrors, the ones that bulge out, they do the opposite. They shrink everything down, but in exchange, they give you this huge, wide-angle view. That's why they're perfect for the side view mirrors on your car. You can see so much more of what's around you. Okay, so we've got a handle on what happens when light bounces off something. That's reflection. But what happens when light goes through something? Like a window, or even better, a lens? I mean, we've all used a magnifying glass, right? That's a perfect example. A magnifying glass is a lens. Its job isn't to bounce light back at you, but to bend it as it passes through. And hey, just like with our curved mirrors, the shape of the lens is the whole ballgame. A convex lens, the kind in a magnifying glass, is fat in the middle. It bends light inward, focusing it. But a concave lens is skinny in the middle, and it does the opposite. It spreads the light out, which makes things look smaller. All right. Let's recap. We've seen that light travels in straight lines. We've seen how it bounces and how it bends. We even solved our spoon mystery. That upside-down reflection, that's the work of the concave mirror on the inside of the spoon. But you know what? We have saved the absolute coolest, most mind-blowing secret about light for the very end. So let me ask you something. Have you ever really thought about sunlight? Just plain old white sunlight. You probably think white is just, well, a color, or maybe the absence of color. But you'd be wrong. Sunlight is hiding a beautiful secret. Get this, white light isn't white at all. It's actually a mashup of every single color of the rainbow, all mixed together. When you shine that light through a prism, the prism acts like a sorter. It bends each color just a little bit differently, and that's what splits the light apart and shows you the whole stunning rainbow hidden inside. And we're talking about 7 specific colors here. You probably know them: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. That's the hidden recipe, the spectrum, inside every single beam of sunlight. Okay, so if a prism can take white light and split it apart, does it work the other way? Can you take all those colors and smush them back together to make white? Absolutely. Check this out. This is called a Newton's disk. When you spin it really, really fast, your eyes can't keep up with the individual colors, so your brain just mashes them all together and poof, it looks white again. How cool is that? And look, understanding all this stuff isn't just for passing a science test. There's an awesome legend that more than 2,000 years ago, the Greek genius Archimedes used this knowledge as a weapon. The story goes he used giant mirrors to focus sunlight onto Roman ships that were attacking his city, basically creating a giant death ray that set their sails on fire. Now, who knows if that story is 100% true, but it really makes you think, doesn't it? We started with something as simple as a spoon and ended up with rainbows and ancient superweapons. It just goes to show how powerful the principles of light are. So it leaves us with a question. If just bouncing light off a mirror could potentially stop an entire army thousands of years ago, what other secrets is light still hiding from us?